Once upon a time, in a lone state called Texas, in a city called Waco, where a joyful mother once was, a little girl opened her eyes to a world. What she didn't know was that she had a big God, a bigger daddy than the one she just met, who watched her every day and night and would guide her through the darkness. This was his promise, the great gift of her life, and more than that, he would keep her pure so that in him she would delight. Thus she began life's journey with a name that meant he is faithful and kind, Hesed. I was full of excitement at wonder at things, no time to take a break from exploration. What's a horse? What's a tree? This thing with all these leaves? Do people grow? How tall will they rise? Maybe they'll become giants, and their heads will touch the skies. With each new discovery came more wonder and curiosity that little by little revealed to me God's powerful hand in everything. His goodness was shown to me in that I could spend lots of time with my family by enjoying the things he created. When the weather turned cold in Louisville, Kentucky, and the city would be buried in the snow, my brother John, my dad, and I would go out to fly down the White Hills on his store-bought boogie boards. And the new baby brother that came had the cutest little face, and he was a joy and company to me in that place. I delighted in all of God's creation through eyes of innocence, for I was protected by my parents from the worldly evils that would have dragged me away from my main focus. So to express my joy, I lifted my voice and sang, "God is so good," the hymn I learned for mealtimes when we said grace. And though my price was small and his works were huge, deep down inside I knew that he only sought what was in my heart, that purity since my very start. So even though I knew little of God, I sang out my soul with all that I had to him because all I saw was his goodness. I came, I saw, I enjoyed. Then we moved around to different locations and settled in Irvine, the beginning of my distractions, where I became exposed to immorality. I dropped out of private Christian schools and entered the public school, which shunned any talk of Christ or the Bible and encouraged false teachings and idols. Coffeehouse Christians surrounded me, who went to church only to socialize or have fun. All this corruption affected my feelings and thoughts, and I lost what innocence I once held. As I teetered on the edge of the pit called temptation, it whispered to me, "Look at the non-believers. Don't look at their morality. Face the reality. Riches and wealth are what matter most in life because the main goal of it is to be successful before you die. 3-story, elegant houses, designer t-shirts and jeans are there every day, while you, look at yourself, just in Turkish uniforms and living in a dinky apartment while you dwell on hardly enough income to support your family. You were torn away from your friends to do homeschooling, and now you're lonely. And that church you attend, isn't it mean? Are there worse things you could have seen happen when they reject authority and follow themselves only? That isn't good. That isn't right. So put up a fight, because 2 wrongs make a right. Get revenge, because that'll make things even again. Where's God through all these things that are tough? He protected you at first, but I guess it wasn't enough. He broke his promise of his wonderful plan for you, so you can conclude, God is not good. These were the temptations that challenged me, and I would have given up and joined the people in this pit had not God lifted me away from it and shown that he was always there for me. And ultimately, God's goodness reigned in every case, no matter what I faced. Those who had fallen to their complaints were headed to death, not worldly success. The real riches in my life came from God himself and were his love and blessings. I didn't need a lot of money. God's grace was everything. Money only leads to greed, and greed leads to sin. And since they find no true happiness, they only find destruction. And he showed me that throughout my years of homeschool, he kept me from being a complete loner through all the activities I enjoyed with my family. And realized if I stayed at public schools, my false friends would have later torn me. And what I went through in church, that was to help see that sometimes we're fighting against a stream, and Christ is calling us elsewhere. Then I began to understand these temptations are pure evil, and those who fall into the pit are following the devil, because God is the only good in this world, and good he will forever be. Now that I realize this, I can joyfully sing, God is so good, he's so good to me. Thank you.